From the Denver Broncos Media Center, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight.
Welcome to Broncos Country Tonight. We're thrilled to have in studio the man, the myth, the legend, Steve Atwater, Hall of Famer. What's up, man?
What's up, gents?
What's going on? It's good to see you.
The world.
Hey, man. Broncos are 1-0.
Are you surprised?
No, not surprised. It's preseason. But what did you think about the game? I mean, well, I want to talk about training camp with you. I want to talk about the game. But overall impressions of what you've seen and what you believe this team is going to be able to do.
Yeah, well, I was very impressed. Happy to see Coach Hackett get his, first dub as a head coach. I thought the guys went out, they played hard, and I thought we got off to a little bit of a slow start offensively, especially the first quarter there. But we got to go in the second quarter. Josh Johnson made some nice passes. Some young receivers stepped up and made some great catches. But the one thing that just kind of stands out is that offensive line, and we're not really having that run game there, that outside zone. We were running it, but it wasn't as effective. The offensive linemen weren't getting the push that they needed, and a couple guys made some mistakes in there. I think some guys went off to get a linebacker, and they supposed to stayed in line with everyone else. But overall, I thought it was a very good first showing, and obviously it's going to be a lot of work still ahead of them.
Yeah, Coach Hackett talked about it after the game, and then he talked about it in the press conference following on Monday. And Ben, he talked about some of the mental mistakes that showed up for the team. And it's a certain amount, I think, where we wanted to see what Coach Hackett would do when things are going well and then when things aren't going as well. And so in this case, Coach Hackett, I thought, gave us a little bit of an insight into, well, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to celebrate the win. It's great to see the guys perform well. And I think overall you think, what a good performance from the team, but there were things to clean up. And I thought Coach Hackett gave us a bit of insight into what that looks like.
Yeah, we wondered if, that effusive praise was going to be something that carried over when they made mistakes. And if that was going to be something that he could be a guy that coached people, I don't want to say coached them negatively, but when there were mistakes, got in there and, coached them up. Yeah. And, he was hot. He was hot at the presser after the game, talking about this run game was unacceptable. We weren't getting pushed, all that kind of stuff. And so it was good to acknowledge that. It was good to say those comments publicly. And it was good to see the, kind of the disappointment and anger and know that he's got that covered. That, hey, look, when we're being disappointing, it's not going to be all sunshine and roses. I'm going to get down there and I'm going to tell you, hey, we're making mistakes. We got to correct this.
Yeah, and I think, coaches, you got to do that. You got to be able to have that relationship with your players that, you can praise them, but also you got to have the flip side of it when you're not doing as well as you should be doing and you're not executing the way that you should. Coach has got to have the leeway and the relationship with the guys to be able to do that, and they take that the right way. And I think he's built the relationship with these guys in this fairly short period of time to where he can do that.
But when it comes to that leadership style and that coaching style, I'd love to know from your side of things, riding the balance between kind of being hard, being very difficult on the guys. There's another word I want to use there, but versus being the cheerleader. Mm-hmm. And we thought Nathaniel Hackett coming in, super positive guy. We didn't know if he'd be able to strike that balance. Pete Carroll's a super positive guy, but he still gets the best out of his players most of the time. Yeah. So from your perspective as a player, what do you want to see from a coach to ride that balance?
Well, I mean, just the communication part. And, he's been super consistent about that. I'm going to let you know when you're doing well, but if you aren't doing well, I'm not going to act like everything's okay. He's been that way from day one. But because he's got the relationship with the guys, he treats the guys fairly, treats them like men. They understand it. And I think in the end, players want that anyway. They want to be coached. They want to be the best player that they can be, so they can have an opportunity to have a great career, win Super Bowls, do all these great things. Only way you can do that is that you're playing your best and everyone on the team is doing the same thing.
We saw a really nice 2-minute drill there from the Broncos going into halftime, and 2 minutes been a little bit of a mixed bag out here for training camp, to be honest. So are you more encouraged by the fact they're able to do that even with second teamers out there with Josh Johnson? Or is that something when we see the first team having some inconsistencies, you go, okay, well, that's something I'm a little concerned about going into the season with the starters?
I think they'll get there. I still think there's some communication stuff. I still think you got a new OC, new quarterbacks. Everything's still kind of in motion. You haven't even completed install yet at this point. I mean, you're close, but you haven't completed install. So you're still out there practicing the stuff. Like, what's my go-to stuff? What's the stuff I'm going to be using all the time? We need to be practicing. And so they're trying to get all the timing down on all those kinds of things. And I'm not too worried about it. If we get to the end of the preseason and they're still struggling in 2 minutes, then I have a little bit of a concern. But right now, nah.
Well, and meanwhile, I think you also have to give some flowers to the defense here, right? Because they're struggling in 2 minutes. The offense, the defense is doing their job in 2 minutes. We have to give them some credit.
Oh, definitely. And we've said that, I think, right from the start of camp. I was like, man, are they this good already? Or, is the offense not playing as well? But I think it's, the defense we got a really good defense, man. And got some young guys that stepped up and made some plays, had some opportunities. PJ Locke stepped up. Had the opportunity to get a pick, took advantage of it. And Baron Browning showing up big time, just showing that he can rush the edge. He can make the adjustment from inside linebacker to the edge there. Played physical, saw him can do a great job of containing the run, being real stout out there. Just really some solid performances.
So, let's talk about Baron Browning for a minute because he clearly was one of the stars out there for that preseason game. Does this change a little bit of what kind of role you see for him this upcoming year?
No, not really. I mean, I think I've kind of said this all along. He's gonna contribute wherever they have him. He's at edge right now. He wants to be at edge, and we have, obviously Bradley Chubb, Randy Gregory. We got Nick Bonito. We got Malik Reed. We got Jay Coop. We got a plethora of guys at that position.
Nice use of plethora.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be a difficult decision who's not going to be here. But I think Baron Browning is going to be one of the guys that's going to be here and is going to contribute.
Okay, so more of the question is, and this question for you too, Ben, is does it change how much you see him? So I don't think it changes him as an outside linebacker. I'm saying, do you want to get him on the field more often?
I mean, I think with that position, guys rotate quite a bit anyway.
Not under Vic Fangio, but I guess we'll see with Ejiro Evero.
Yeah,
because Vic Fangio wanted to keep his pass rushers, especially his starters, on the field as much as possible.
All the edge rushers get some run. Malik Reed got run the last couple of years.
Yeah, but why did he get run?
Some of it was because of injuries, obviously. But guess what? Jay Coop got a chance to get in there and show what they can do. That's just one of those positions. It's not like a position like, corner or safety or even inside linebacker when your group is on the field. All right, the ones are normally going to be in there unless you're injured. At edge, you could be in there, you could be not, just based on, hey, I think it has something to do with, are you in great enough shape, to be able to give it 110%, because guys, they want to get those sacks, and we want them to get them.
The Broncos had Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware still found reps for Shaq Barrett. I don't think it's going to be a problem finding
some of those NASCAR packages.
Find a rep. Well, and they used Shaq inside a couple of times that year as well. And a guy like Baron Browning has the versatility where he can play inside like that. We've seen packages and sub packages here where they've got Browning and Stearns in as the linebackers in nickel. So they're going to get exotic with it sometimes. They'll find reps for guys that need to be on the field because their athletic profile or because their productivity profile shows that they should be.
How big of a hit is it losing Jonas Griffith?
I think it's a big hit. Bringing in Schobert. Yeah, I think that was a big league move there. He had several years of 100+ tackles. Man, that's a lot of productivity. Flying around to the ball. I like that, but I think coaches and the trainers that they know the seriousness of Jonas Griffith's injury, and I don't think it's a season-long thing. So we just got to have somebody to make sure that they can cover the slack or be an adequate fill-in until it gets back. And I think we're covered there.
You want to see starters coming up against Buffalo, Minnesota?
Bro, I'm on the other end of the pendulum now. I don't need to see them to the first game.
I wondered. So is that a reaction to that, or is that how you've always felt?
I mean, I've come around to it now. In my mind, I'm thinking it's still going to be difficult to go on the field and really run full speed into someone and take them to the ground and talk noise, all that. If you really haven't done that, you just turn it on week one. I think guys need to have, some of that, some contact, some even the offensive guys. They got to have gone to the ground, hit the ground a few times before the regular season gets here, and then all of a sudden you're at 100% and 110% really, because the adrenaline is going to be flowing with our team and the other team. So, but I don't want to get anybody hurt in the preseason, and that's because those games really don't count. Now, obviously, they help you to get an idea of what guys can do. And I think that's the kind of situation with Jonas. If they knew 100% that, hey, he's going to be our starter, and I think it was trending that way, but if they knew 100% what he could do, he probably wouldn't have been in there. But they still had a few question marks that, hey, they wanted to get the answers to, I think.
I think for me, and I'm with you on this, I think you want to get punched in the mouth before the season starts for the first. You don't want to get punched in the mouth for the first time after the first season, the bell's rung, right? You want to get punched before that so you know how you're going to react to getting punched in the mouth and you're ready to go.
Yeah, we've seen some teams play their starters. Heck, Patrick Mahomes played some with the Chiefs, and quite a few teams. It doesn't matter. Obviously the Rams, they don't do it that way. They don't let any of their starters play in the preseason. So it's different ways of skinning a cat. And but yeah, for me, I think I'd just kind of reel it back in. I mean, that's the way a lot of things have gone anyway. Just err on the side of caution. I would much rather do that than get another one of our starters.
I mean, there's an acknowledgement about the NFL, and there's only so much you can do about those things, right?
Yeah, man, come on. I mean, see what the Pro Bowl looks like.
That's right.
So hey. We don't want to get preseason ever like that. That wouldn't be any good.
That is not going to work. All right. Well, hey, thank you, Steve. Appreciate you joining us.
I appreciate you, R. Was it
all right.
Benjamin Allbright?
All right. For Steve Atwater, Benjamin Allbright, I'm Ryan Edwards. Thanks for watching Broncos Country Tonight.
Denver's going to win. You can stand up and salute in Denver, and you got the world champions that live in your town.